Well, hello, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Tuesday, March the 21st. Tuesday, March the 21st. Let's see, what do we have going on on the Young and the Restless today? We have Nate and Victoria talking because Nate wanted to discuss, of course, what didn't happen um, the night before. And isn't it interesting? We got to have a conversation, but we got to be right in front of each other, right? Right, close enough to kiss again, right? Close enough for the hair on the back of your neck to stand up and get all tingly because you're that close to somebody you're that attracted to. So Victoria apologizes for crossing the line, and she's sorry she didn't want to make him feel uncomfortable or whatever she said she was sorry for. And do you know, Nate said, no, you're not. And she said, excuse me. He goes, you're not sorry. And so she looked at him. She goes, you're right, I'm not sorry, because I would love to have explored, you know the excitement and the elasticity they have for each other. So she's like, yeah, you're right. No, I would love to that have to have happened. Still got this thing going on, y'all. So but pretty much the conversation, like Nate is saying, but I can't. And I'm thinking, anytime you got to keep talking about how you can't, you definitely are going to. You're gonna, right? Because you want to keep thinking about it. That's like when you're not supposed to have kissed. And every time you're in front of that person you're not supposed to have kissed, you said, you know what, that kiss could never happen again. I don't care how good it made us feel. I don't care how passionate and hot it was. I don't care about how every time I close my eyes, I think of that kiss. But it can't happen again. You already know what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes, a kiss, right? Because that's how it goes. If something can't happen again, you make sure you put checks and measures in place so that it doesn't, period. But no, anyway, Nate's going to be Nate. He's making more of a valiant attempt than I thought he was. I thought he was going to go right on upstairs and do the deal with Victoria. I really did. So kudos for that, but I already know he's going to. He's going to use the next argument with Elena as an excuse to. That's what he's going to do. He's going to use the next time she's too tired from working a double shift, you know, he's going to use that as, well, you're not passionate enough to me, or you're not giving me enough intimacy. He'll use an excuse to run right into Victoria's bed in a heartbeat. Because right now, what Nate needs is justification in his head. He doesn't have that true justification yet. But he'll get it. He'll get it. He'll get it, especially because we got Audra working like a snake in the grass against him. Now, the funny thing is, Elena should be smarter than this. I don't even have to know Audra, but after having one conversation with her, I would know what kind of woman she is. Elena should know better. She was the one, Audra's the one talking about Nate's dreamy eyes and Nate this, that, to his girlfriend. That's Audra. And for Elena not to be able to read right through her, she has zero spidey sense, none. She has zero woman detection within her at all, because I would detect that woman sitting across from me as a threat, period, pretending to be my friend. You wouldn't get to have coffee with me. After the first time Elena had coffee with her and Elena said, my schedule's busy, Elena should never have sat down with her again, ever, right? And then after hearing Audra's plan to bring JT into town, and do a podcast on JT's brain tumor and the effects it had. Which ultimately, you know what, that would have been interesting for a podcast. However, Elena heard Audra said this is a way to get him into town, and that was Victoria's love of her life. Was her husband, first husband, or whatever JT was, first husband. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, you know what? When it all came down to it, I really, really think Billy was Victoria's, the love of her life. I really do. Yes, JT was that young love, when they had Reed together, which, by the way, you would never know Victoria had an older son, but they've got Reed out there in the world somewhere, right? But I just think she and Billy had more of a pull, magnetic pull towards each other. And in a large way, they still do, So anyway, Elena ultimately said, that would be interesting, but the whole premise for bringing him here is to put him back in front of Victoria. And Elena said, I don't operate like that. I couldn't in all good conscience do that. And Elena's like, oh, because in her mind, she goes, I could do that and much, much more. Of course she could, and much, much more, right? And Elena should have been looking across at her and said, and been thinking in her mind, this is the depths that you will go to. What's in it for you? See, you're saying, oh, this would be a way to get Victoria, someone else to focus on other than Nate. But what's in it for Audra? Elena needs to think about that. Why would you even invest yourself that much into Victoria's history to come up with this? It's right staring her right in front of her face. Audra's attentions are plain. And it's like she told Tucker, that do-gooder doctor is no match for me. Oh, well, the way Elena's playing it, she's no match for Audra. But, ultimately, if they have, now here's the deal. If they have Elena and Audra meet one more time for coffee in the next week, Audra's going to be the undoing of Elena and Nate. Seriously. Because Audra's full of mind games. And in reality, Elena is much older than Audra. She should see through this in a heartbeat. And they're having her not. Okay, Elena. All right. So anyway, we'll see where things go with that. And we have let's peek in on what's going on at the arbitration. Well, Christine gave a good opening statement, but nothing to wow your socks, right? But Amanda came in for the okey doke. And we have Lily just sitting there like, ooh, that was a little harsh. Like, oh, yikes. Oh. And Devon is getting mad. Now, mind you, he's supposed to keep his composure. He knows. He couldn't keep his composure. Amanda went on to, look, I overlooked the documents and everything that there was nothing in there that said it was going to always stay private. Nothing. But the funny thing is, there was nothing in there saying it would go public either. Isn't that interesting? And she goes, so yeah, he's referring to what conversations that weren't put in the contract, because Amanda was there when they were saying, look, Devon, if it doesn't work out, we can go back to the original way the companies were run. Amanda was there for the whole thing. She knew, right? So anyway, Amanda just started addressing Devon personally just because and I was thinking Christine should say, arbitrator, I prefer for Amanda Sinclair or Miss Sinclair, Attorney Sinclair, address you directly and not address my client directly. That's what Christine should have done. Because Amanda's like, you don't get to do that just because you decide you're going to go another direction. You want that. And I'm thinking, whoa, that was out of line. And Christine let it be. She just whispered into Devon, look, we knew this would be like this. Don't let this get to you. And so Devon, he's in the hot seat. He just says, can we have an early lunch or recess? Can we have a recess? And the arbitrator's like, well, and then Christine says, perhaps an early lunch. And so she goes, fine. And they get to the restaurant and Christine says, Devon, you said you could handle it. And he's like, he goes, I know I did. I got upset because, she was, Amanda, you clearly see it's personal. And she goes, but you knew it would be personal. And you were out of order for asking for a recess. Attorneys do that, not you, not clients. Okay, but he goes, no, you have to keep it together. Christine's like, because I warned you how this would go. So, and then we have Amanda and Lily at Crimson Lights, and Amanda's, she's happy because she's like, in her mind, I'm just getting started ripping him apart. And Lily's like, I think you got too personal with Devon. And she goes, yeah, and it got under his skin, and yeah, it worked. And so Lily said, but Amanda, I really wish you would stick to, the company. I wish you would stick to that and not personally attack Devon. And she said, Lily, I'm in it to win. And I told you I would do anything to win, and I'm going to win. So you need to sit back and let me do what you hired me for. And Lily's just sitting there. Yeah, Lily. Oh, Lily, you want to still be the good girl at the end of this, Lily? No. Right? So we have Victor talking to Jill. And he was saying, Jill, I had passing fleet thought about making Newman public, but then I realized this is a family business. And I don't want outsiders coming in making the decisions. You are going to lose control. And so she's like, I have thought about what this could mean, and I've vetted, and I'm this and I'm offended that you don't think that I have. And he goes, no, I don't want to offend you. I'm just saying, what's the real reason you want this IPO? He says, it's for an influx of cash, right? And she goes, that's one of them, yeah. He goes, there's other ways of doing it, Jill, than going public. And she goes, I've thought of other ways, but this way is she almost said the easiest, but the way I decided. He goes, well, look, let me offer you this. Because Jill knows she's late. The whole arbitration's going on. Jill ain't there, right? Lily should be worried that Jill left her hanging, right? Hanging. Even though Jill wouldn't have been speaking, because really they aren't supposed to be speaking. The attorneys are doing all the talking, right? So Victor says, you need private investors that are going to give you the cash you need, get a portion of the profits, but stay out of the decision making in the day-to-day operations. And she goes, and I'll bet you have an investor in mind, don't you? And he goes, yeah, me. I could give you all the money you wanted. And so she's looking at Victor, and he goes, and I would stay out of running Chancellor. But see, but here's the deal. You can't trust Victor Newman. You can't trust him at all. But the only thing that she can't, because he said, no, this is for Devon and Neil. And Catherine wouldn't want you to alienate the family. And so she goes, don't bring Catherine into this. He goes, well, I am. I've known, I knew Catherine for years. Boy, Catherine would never take the company public. right? So I think Jill's going to go with it. I think, see, because what this is going to do is going to keep Devon under the Chancellor Winters umbrella. They will not go public. Victor will be the private investor, and then he'll buy McCall Limited. Well, looky here. Victor's got a whole lot of money, right? Bottomless pit, I guess. Because I do know they have to have some, they had to put together financing to buy McCall Limited, and it's all in place. He would have to put together financing to be a private investor. Now, whether he uses personal funds and or business funds, because Victor does have billions or millions, maybe billions of personal funds. He does, you know, and Newman has access to billions. So, it's doable for him. Maybe a little stretch, but doable. I see them going that way because you get more conflict with Adam being CEO of McCall. You're going to get the conflict of Victoria trying to run ramshot around her father. And we're going to see what happens to her. And you get the conflict of Adam running a major corporation. Devon necessarily is more low key. Even if he would have bought McCall Unlimited, we would not have seen a lot of Devon business-wise, because we never saw a lot of Devon business-wise when he had Hamilton Winters. You didn't see a lot of Devon business-wise merged into Chancellor. He's low-key business. There's not going to be a lot of conflict, but they're going to have a lot of soap opera conflict with Adam running McCall. Okay, so we're going to see. I wanted Devon to have McCall because Tucker was his father, and I don't feel the Newmans should get everything. But you know what? Victor's solution is a solution, because Devon does not lose his heart and soul. Chancellor won't go public because he only wanted to leave Chancellor when they kept saying they wanted to go public. So with them not going public, okay, Devon is happy. He's pacified. So he'll stay and run his part, and he and Lily will mend fences, and he'll be pissed at her for a minute because Amanda, but she'll apologize, because look, Jill's gonna walk in 9th hour and say, I changed my mind. I'm not going to do the IPO. Or she may come in and say, I don't want the tension that it's causing between the family, so I'm going to cancel the IPO. So she would have put Lily through all of that only to make another deal. But that's Jill's prerogative, right? That's Jill. So anyway, we shall see. Because let's face it, I don't see Tucker's character staying around on the show for long. So, we'll see. I'm not. I'm happy with Victor's his alternative suggestion. I didn't think of that, and this is a good alternative suggestion. So kudos to him. But that's it on The Young and the Restless. And I looked, there were no comments on Comment Corner. I guess everybody felt a little bad for me, knowing I'm trying to read comments and not up to 100%. But, I will be back tomorrow, hopefully better. Hopefully I'm this much better than yesterday, y'all, this much better. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be this much better. Anyway, I will be back for another daily recap of The Young and the Restless.